you work that out. So that's important that you learn the legal terminology in business, because it all encompasses everything. Business encompasses movie deals, it encompasses corporate law, it encompasses even tribal law or tribal business, because it's all business, however you want to word it. It's all legal documents at the end of the day, whether it's crime or a criminal investigation, or whether it's working out your treaty rights, it's all business. So being versed in all of that is the best way so you don't get screwed over on any deals, legally at least. Because there's the flip side of business, the 3 C's of money, right? Number 1 being crime. And you learn about that. So, learning about business, you learn. And I really enjoy doing business because I know there's going to come a time down the road where my tribe is going to be doing some type of big deal, and they're going to need their best and brightest minds to help them out. Otherwise, they will get screwed over. And it's because most people aren't knowledgeable in that subject or care enough. I seen it go down. I think I was 16 when I was at the House of Representatives in Montana, Helena, for the, it was the Salish Kootenai Water Compact deal. And they got $1 billion out of that deal. I was there for I witnessed the signing. I was there in person. That was a big deal. I learned a lot from being there, learning about it and hearing what they had to do. Because the Blackfeet, a couple months later, or a year later, I don't really remember, they had to do another water compact deal. And don't get me started on that. They lost so much money in that deal. They got like, I think 100 or 200 million out of it. But what they should have gotten is like at least $7 billion. Billions of dollars. But they settled for such small amounts. And you think about that, and you go, oh, it's because the people they hired, the people had to do, weren't knowledgeable enough, weren't cognitive enough. I can be critical of those tribes because I've seen it firsthand. I've witnessed it in person. So that's why I'm so fascinated with doing business. Because if I don't become so knowledgeable, who will? There's a lot of cats on the res who aren't sharp enough, or even people get very indignant about things and they do their own thing. So if I fail, I doubt there's anyone else who's going to pick up the mantle. That's the way I see it, because I've seen it firsthand. And I've known enough people on the reservation to know the scope of their capability. Just how it is. Because when they get in a business room full of sharks, and they're bleeding, they'll smell it in the water. I hate to say it, but that's the truth. The tribes are always bleeding. Not because they lack an education, because they lack the capability of intellect. Knowledge can be bought. Intellect cannot be. When I say that, what I mean is you can buy a PhD. You just show up. I know plenty of people with their PhDs. Not very sharp. They can be outdated. The knowledge on that subject is not too in depth. Some of them are sharp. Don't get me wrong. Some of them are sharp. But their intellect's not deep. The intellect is something you're born with. Or you can work on it really hard and refine it over the years and become. But intellect is something you're born with. You either have it or you don't. You can make yourself sharper for sure, but that's almost impossible. Because when the creator, my cousin told me this, and this is true, with sports and intellect. When the creator made a tiger, he gave him natural abilities. Where a rabbit, you need drugs to look like a tiger, to look like a predator. And even if the rabbit does get all of that, it's still not a tiger. And that's the truth. Meaning, you're either born with the intellect, and you have all the natural abilities, or you're not. He also told me this, dude, this is talent. He's talking about talent. Fundamentals are a crutch for the talentless. You have the talent or you don't. So fundamentals are going to college, getting your education, learning all of that. Those are the fundamentals. I mean, you can become a lot sharper, deeper, in depth. But if you don't have, if you're just not born with it, it's just tough. And that's when you look at tribal councils. A lot of the guys in there are born without the intellect, the sharpness, to work out those really fine business deals. I'm not saying that they can't do certain things. I'm just saying from what I've seen them do in the business room, it's not the highest degree of what they're capable of. That's what I'm saying. Because if it was so, the tribes would be some of the richest corporations in the world. Not in the country, but in the world. Sure, there's some tribes that are exceptional, like the Shakopee or the Seminole tribes. Yeah, those are some of the exceptions because they've done very well. But they're also very, very small. I'm talking about the larger tribes, the one where there's 15, 20,000 members, 5,000 members, even that. Those are the bigger tribes. I've seen tribes up to 200,000, but then at that point, when you start getting that big, you lose the tribalism and it turns to something else. But what I'm saying is, when you're choosing your leaders for council, every council says they're a business council. That's literally in the name, business council, for tribes at least. But how many of them have actually ran a true business? Over $1 million by themselves. Not through the tribe, but by themselves have operated and built up $1 million business. Then they can call themselves a businessman or a businesswoman or a councilman, a true business council. But very few of them have. And they stayed on the reservation most of their lives. They don't have the intellect. Some of them do go off to get the knowledge, go to college, whatever. But even at college, you don't learn true intellect. You just learn some knowledge. You don't learn business at the universities. You learn business by doing business. And that's, yeah, that's neither here nor there. That's just the truth. At the end of the day, when you're choosing your tribal leadership, ask yourself that. What's this person's intellect like? And another thing, this is a big thing. I'd rather have this over intellect. And this is the truth. I'd rather have them have a backbone and be brave than truly intellect. Because I've seen people who are hyper intelligent be cowed by somebody else who's just bold about things. I'd rather have that person because I know they're not going to get pushed over in the business room by someone else. They'll stand their toes. Even if they're completely wrong, they'll stand there too. I'd rather have that than someone who's hyper intelligent, as a leader at least. But if you have someone who has both, oh, that's a winning team right there. That's a winning team. So that's just some of the things I've noticed. Tribal council businesses, business councils. Whew. Something I've learned, I've seen. I get asked all the time why I don't run for council. And this is something I've learned too. This is a little bit of learned behavior, I guess you would call it. If you want true change on your own reservation, you have to do it yourself. If you went into the council approach, you're waiting on a team to approve the actions, and then it'll get done, pass down the ladder, right? That's too slow, and it's too bureaucratic, and it won't get done right. If you want to do something, you have to do it right. You have to do it yourself. That's why I don't run for council. Because I understand in a council position, they're handicapped for whatever reason, whatever they want to get reelected, X, Y, and Z. If you want to get something done, you have to have your own corporation, your own businesses to run it, to get it done properly yourself. Otherwise, nothing will ever come of it. I've seen this happen firsthand. People want to get reelected. They like the job. It's cushy. It's one of the highest paying jobs on the res. Not to do nothing. Relax, kick back, go, get paid good, right? They can say they're doing stuff, but they're really not, because you don't see the change happening right in front of your eyes. That's why I don't run for council. Because I understand that you'll get bogged down with the entire if you know what I mean, you know that. I could have ran for council when my first movie came out. Could have, but just not me. I like working for myself. When you're on council, you work for somebody else. You don't work for the people. I mean, they say they work for the people, they really don't. You've been around enough government, you've seen it. You don't really work for the people. You work for somebody else. True change. You want true change on your reservation, you gotta do it yourself. That's the tough part. You gotta do it yourself. You can't really rely on anyone else. And your intellect will tell you that. Okay, this is, I don't know. If you learned anything from this, one thing to take away, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, or don't. Well, have a good one.